Welcome to Tree Talking Time, where we talk all things tree dogs, from the smallest feists to the largest hounds, treating squirrels to bears and everything in between. And from time to time, we might even run a little fast game. Welcome back to Tree Talking Time. This one is going to be a little different. We're not talking tree dogs today. We're gonna delve into something completely different, but it's something that all of our hound sports have evolved from. We're going to talk about traditional mounted fox hunting. I live in an area that's, an equestrian hotspot, I would say. I don't know. We've got a lot of equestrian sports. Southern Chester County, Chester County in general. We're kind of on the outskirts of Philadelphia. We're not too far from Baltimore. In both places, there's a lot of fox hunting. There's a lot of other horse events. They just built a giant equestrian thing for, I don't know, the Olympics or something. Yeah. That's not far. So like I said, we're an equestrian hotspot, and this mounted fox hunting obviously requires horses and hounds, and so it's very popular around here. I happen to know a couple of huntsmen, right? That's the correct term, huntsman.
Yep.
So that's why we're talking to a couple huntsmen today. On my right, I have Mackenzie. Say hi,
Oh, okay. Hey, how you doing?
And then we've got Rich.
Hi, how you doing?
So these two guys both run hounds. They're a little different. Mackenzie runs what would you call your
a registered pack?
A registered pack,
and we call either farm or private pack.
Okay. So it's a little different in the way things work. I am getting a crash course in this. Mackenzie a couple months ago when we were coon hunting, because Mackenzie actually coon hunts as well. So he was telling me some of it, and I was like, man, I got to get you on a podcast and we can talk about this. But just downstairs, we were in the kennels, and he was kind of explaining a lot, and it's very different than coon hunting, bear hunting. So I'm going to pretty much turn it over to you guys, and we're going to go through a lot of the terminology first, so that way as you guys tell stories and kind of explain things, we're not getting lost because me and the listeners don't know all the terminology. So Mackenzie and Rich, I don't know who wants to take it, but you guys kind of explain what we need to know.
Well, considering I started with Rich 8-9 years ago,
Uh-huh.
I was a couple places before that, but I stayed with Rich for probably the longest. I think he should be the one to start
Okay.
terminology and stuff. He's been in it a lot longer than I have.
Well, it is like I say, a pack sport. We're after the mostly red fox. Sometimes we get into coyotes now. But, however, Mackenzie hunts a lot more hounds than I do. We probably typically take out 20, 25 hounds. And the whole game is to keep them on one track.
Mm-hmm.
And, and we try to breed them to run at the same speed, have the same ability to scent. We try to get their voices. We want big voices. Our hounds are Penn Merridales, and they're typically a little slower than like the crossbreds here at where Mackenzie hunts. But we hunt in a little smaller country.
Okay. Hang on one second. Let's explain what a Penn Merridale is, because most people are not going to know that are not from around here what a Penn Merridale is.
Well, it comes from the term is Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware,
mm-hmm.
Eastern Shore of Maryland. It's a breed of the American foxhound, but they developed them, I think, since 1934 because of their nose
mm-hmm.
and their voice.
Okay.
Because we hunt in some trappy areas where you can't always just ride right with them.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be able to hear them, and they got to be able to smell the scent in some pretty rough places.
Okay.
And be able to get through it.
Mm-hmm. And then we have to be able to maneuver on horseback to stay with them. So it has become a recognized pack now, a recognized breed. Although we are not a recognized hunt, we still hunt as a private pack,
mm-hmm.
but we are typically all Penn Merridale.
Okay.
We're not. We're a full registered pack, but we have pretty much everything in our kennel is 90% crossbred.
Okay.
And
cross
heavily,
between.
We're heavy on American.
And you say American, that's American foxhound.
Yes, American foxhounds. we have some crossbred stuff in there that would have been crossed with Penn Marydell. I do have, I think, 3 or 4 straight Penn Marydell in our pack. And if you would sit and go back, you can find a little bit of English and a little bit of Welsh and stuff still in there, but most of that's gone at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But with the Americans, with our country, it's not as rough. We still have trapearies and stuff, but we have smaller plots of woods that we hunt into that cover, and everything surrounded it's wide open fields.
Yeah.
So we have a lot more. Once we push a fox out of that cover, he's got 500-600 acres open that he's got to cover before he can go back into his next cover to get away.
Okay.
So we like that little bit more leg underneath them. We still want the voice, we still want the drive that they have, but we want to be able to do it faster. We got a lot more ground to cover.
Mm-hmm. And you said all of this you guys are keeping up on horseback.
Yes.
Now
you got to have a good horse, and it changes. You go hunt with Rich, you got to have a horse that can climb a mountain and climb around like a mountain goat.
Mm-hmm.
You come
Go down
here
through the rocks.
Yeah, you come down here and you need a horse that can run, and you need a horse that can jump.
Yeah, that's you were talking about jumping fences and.
Yep. Most of our countries down here is line fences, coops, some hedges randomly thrown in. Every now and then some wire, some of the tape white wire fencing, and it's dumbed down some. There's not as much 4-rail around here. We have inserts, which is just a smaller section of 3-rail that we've put into fence lines, which we're allowed to do. This whole community around here is based around the fox hunt, so
yes, it is.
we kind of have free reign to what we can do. Most landowners don't care. Then you go back up to where Rich is at, and I mean we can talk about the Blue Rocks where
Right.
I personally
up
got
where we
a horse
hunt, it's
stuck.
pretty much all cover.
Okay.
Yep.
They sometimes you might get a patch of open field where you can get a chance to see them, but a lot of times they're in the cover the whole time they're running.
Okay.
And that's another reason why, they need to have that nose and that drive that keeps them going. And it's not like they can get out on an open grass field and just go away with it.
The other big difference too is we have open ground and our woods have trails in it. There's a lot of times up there your deer trails or you're bushwhacking. you're just
Right.
cutting cross country and hoping for the best.
Right.
Yeah. Now I worked on a farm not right down the road, and has nice big trails
Yep.
cut through it, and that was part of my job, is maintaining those trails, making sure they were clear. And
Yeah, you go back up that way, and I mean, you can go from being in a field to being in 6 foot of mud, hoping you can make it out the other side with all your shoes, to back onto a rock wall. To
Right.
the last time I hunted the Blue Rocks with you, I got your horse stuck down in
we
the
had
Blue
to
Rocks.
thought we were going to have to get a digging bar to pry the horse's foot out between the
Jeez.
rocks.
Yeah, he stepped down between 3 rocks and just locked his foot in there.
daggone.
And I mean, and you get in a place like that, you're back in there half mile. You're not getting to the horse.
Mm-hmm.
You're figuring it out on the fly why hounds are running. You're hoping you're not gonna
Yeah.
lose them. You got to keep up somehow, and you're trying to get a horse unstuck, and everybody's still moving. It's not like they're just gonna stop and wait on you.
Yep. Now, and actually, I want to talk about hounds getting away from you, but let's get back to the terms real quick, just because I don't want to gloss over that and then get in the middle of things and then people not understand. So let's kind of go through, I don't know, the huntsman dictionary here. Like, what are the just the different terminology you guys use? Like when hounds are running and they're opening it, you don't say opening.
No, we say hark on or
Yeah, you're pushing hounds on, harking them to
hark,
them.
hark.
Yeah, which is just pushing to the hound that's opening.
Mm-hmm.
And we try, or at least I do, I try to use the horn as much as I can to get the hounds. And we have a certain note that we blow with the horn to push them on.
So your difference from the coon hunting world is, even in your competitions, you're listening for your dog.
Yeah.
Even if somebody else's dog opens, that doesn't affect you for your calls or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
For us, you get to learn your pack. You get to know hounds' voices. You get to know puppies. You get to know who you can trust and can't.
Yep.
And when you're hearing one of your good hounds be the first to open, now you just want the rest of your pack to get to that hound.
Yeah, you encourage them or push them on to that open.
Yeah, Rich started telling you guys it's a pack sport, so you don't want that one hound doing all the work. Once that hound opens and you know it's right, you want your whole pack going with them.
Yeah.
You don't want 3 hounds going out of where you're at and the rest of the pack sitting there trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, and there's lots of times where you'll have the whole pack running like up there in the game lands a couple times, and then a coyote will come in, and it's like a relay. They try to pull the hounds away, and they'll split them up, and that's where it gets ugly trying to keep them together.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's a red fox and all the hounds stay on that red fox, no interruptions, it's not too bad. They can stay with it.
Yeah, the coyotes. The coyotes right now are the worst for everybody.
Right.
It's no different for Rich than it is for me with the coyotes. You hit a coyote in our territory or his territory, you're going long distances, you're going fast, you're going hard,
Straight away.
Yep.
and you're probably gonna end up in some kind of trouble.
Where the foxes,
They typically
circle.
run a loop. Yeah, they run some kind of a loop. They come back to their home turf. Now you get in the breeding season, you might hit a fox that ends up taking you all over the place.
One other thing I want to talk about, as we were talking terms, is you guys are huntsmen,
Yes.
but you just took the job as huntsman, but you were the whip.
I was the head whip for this hunt.
So explain that.
So, a huntsman, Rich is in charge of everything. Rich picks where they're going. He casts their hounds. He decides which way he's drawing, which way he's going to hunt, how he's going to hunt, which hounds are going. He's in charge of everything. My job, in a nutshell, is to keep the hounds safe and make him look good.
As a whip.
Yeah,
But
as a whip.
But
Yeah.
now you're in the same position.
Yes, now I have the same position as Rich.
Okay.
So now I have people that work for me doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So as much as I try to, as much as Rich does and I do, we stay with our hounds the best we can. But I'm worried about what hounds are where, which hounds are going this way, which hounds are going that way. If I leave two hounds that got tired or something behind me,
mm-hmm.
I'm not as concerned about it because I got a whip behind me that can push them on.
Okay.
If I'm going to a road but I need to be watching what's going on, I got a whip ahead of me now that should be out on that road blocking traffic, along with our car follower, our what we call a road whip, which is our guy in a truck that has an idea where we're at and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, the whipper in is kind of an extension of the huntsman. You typically have at least two, maybe three, and they kind of flank you to start out in the perfect scenario. And
now, is there really a perfect scenario in fox hunting?
Not really, but by the book, and they are there to help you keep the hounds in a pack. And
mm-hmm.
like I say, they go into a cover. There could be more than one fox come out.
Okay.
They might split right away. So this whipper in is there to help keep them together, and the huntsman is there to decide which track you're going to follow. There might be 40 hounds on this track and 3 hounds on this track. So you want to go with a big pack. So the whip has to try to keep the strays or the ones going off on the other track together.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is all this. We do everything we can not to kill the fox. We want that fox there the next day.
Yeah.
We want to be able to chase him, next weekend or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's not like a diehard kill sport. And that's something else that a lot of people don't understand. It's like chasing a golf ball.
No, I mean, and with coon hunting and bear hunting, I know a lot of people, it's called tree and free. You tree it, you turn around, you walk away. I mean,
right.
Yeah, you get to see too, and I think you see it more in his territory than down here because we're so open. But you'll actually run the same fox more than once, and you can actually, if you're at the right spot at the right time, you can actually watch a fox play with hounds.
Right.
You can see a fox he'll work his way through a bunch of stuff and climb up on a rock, and he'll sit there and wait on them. He'll just be sitting there watching hounds work up over a hill.
Oh, I've seen it quite a few times.
Yeah.
That's funny that they actually know and that they're basically playing the game.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and some of them, like you can tell, it's fun for them, just like it is for us.
Right.
Yeah. Hang on 1 second. It's not picking up. The whole kennel downstairs is going up. I was wondering if we were picking any of it up.
So what time is it?
8:10.
That's a little early. So there's a fox that actually comes out of the lower woods down here and comes right across in front of the kennels at like 2 in the morning and 9, 10 o'clock at night, like clockwork. Either that or the fire company's sirens going off right now.
Gotcha. So how many hounds do you have downstairs?
Without the puppies, I think we're sitting at like 86 or 87, and I've got, I think, 7 or 8 pups on the ground. But this time of year, they don't really mean anything to me because they won't do anything till next year.
Yeah.
They kind of just get to grow up.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. 7 months they're into the pack, but at 7 months they're learning to come through doors, get called off for dogs or bitches, whichever they are, and they're learning their names and the ins and outs. Other than that, they're just here.
Yeah. So like I said, most people listen to this are coon hunters, squirrel hunters, bear hunters. So a pack of dogs for most people, we're all 5, 10 dogs, maybe 15. And you just said how many? 80?
Yeah, there's over 80 here right now.
And when you hunt, how many dogs do you typically take?
So the beginning of the year for me, my new entries, which would be year-old dogs, I only take 2 new entries every day I hunt. It rotates till everybody gets to go, so I can see what they're going to do. They get their days out, and we get to know them. Beginning of the year, if I'm running anywhere from 18 to 21, 22 couple, and I don't know why I got this from the huntsman prior to me. You always take your lucky half. So, if you're taking 12 and a half, you're taking 25 hounds. Everything down here is done in couples. It's always a pair.
Why is that?
Just how it is. It's
That's
just
how they count 'em.
Yeah, it's just how we count them. And when you're out, it's a lot easier to count. When we come out of a cover on a fox and we're crossing 2 major roads going somewhere else, it's easier to count in 2s than it is to count in 1s. And I like to know when I leave a cover if I'm leaving with all my hounds or where I'm leaving hounds behind. That way, if we have to go back or we have to find somebody, where your last count was.
So it's mainly just an easy way to count hounds in the field.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha. So I just think that's amazing is the way, you take that many hounds to the woods at one point in time. And we were just talking downstairs. How many tracking collars do you have?
This is going to be the first year. Last year we had a single old Garmin 550 that we might put on one of our lead hounds, and that was just for our education and knowing how many miles we did. Nobody carried the handheld. It laid in the truck, turned on. Nobody ever looked at it.
Gotcha.
This year I've got 10 of the newer Alpha 200 trackers, the tracking system and the collars, the TT10 or the TT5s.
T5s.
Or the T5s. This is going to be the first year, and honestly, like I was talking to you downstairs, I've had them for 3 weeks now, and I think I've used 5 of them. And that was mainly puppies.
Mm-hmm. That's just mind-boggling. Like, I can't imagine taking any of my dogs to the woods without a tracking collar. So it's just vastly different.
The biggest thing you got to remember too, though, is you're hunting at night most of the time.
Even when I hunt during the day, I've squirrel hunted, I've bear hunted.
That's true.
It doesn't matter.
I think
I haven't cut a dog loose in years without a collar.
We have, we do have some major roads, but you got to remember too the community we're in, where we've hunted the same 3 days of the week for years.
Yeah.
Everybody expects us. There's a fixture card
They're
sent
looking
out.
for you.
Yeah, they vaguely know we're going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
But you still get your people that either don't care or don't know, or people just driving through that. But no, for the most part, they stay as a pack and they come home as a pack. You might, if you're missing a hound or two, that's you go find them. That's about it. And
Gotcha.
most of them are close by. And I'm sure you know this as far as most of the places around here. I mean, we leave a hound out, and if we can't find it for some reason, it's normally laying here by the next day.
Right.
They come home.
One of the neighbors pick it up or call.
Mm-hmm.
They know where it belongs.
Yeah. Now, do you run any sort of tracking collars?
We have like 10.
Okay.
And we normally hunt 12 to 13 couple.
Okay.
And so I have like 9 or 10 tracking collars. So I put on each day. I decide which ones should wear a tracking collar. Sometimes I get it right. Sometimes I don't.
Hey, you talk about a lot of hounds. Do you remember the last year we did the meet up at the game lands? That Johnny and Kimberton and you and Doc. We had 4 different hunts there.
And how does that work, mixing packs?
Well, usually pretty good in our world with back then, like this, not this pack here, but they're all Penn Merridales.
Mm-hmm.
And they all, they might have a little bit of a scrap getting together or sniffing one another, but no major fights. And as soon as we get a fox, they're just all on the same track. We had.
And I bet you Doc probably brought 20 hounds.
Well,
you
we probably had
20.
70, 65, 70 hounds running in one pack.
Wow.
And staying together.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we quit, they all come back, and we're dividing them up into our trucks and trailers.
Yeah. Now, you were explaining downstairs kind of the way things work in the kennel. So explain the kennel setup first, and then kind of explain what you were explaining, like how you feed and how you count.
So our kennels, I've got 5 runs inside. I've got 2 grass runs outside. I got 2 whelping lodges. Our dogs and our bitches are split up during the day, and the third lodge is for anything that's in season. Mornings, they go outside. They get split in their runs outside until we get kennels cleaned up and stuff. And they all eat together. I pour feed. We have a 20-foot trough in there. I pour almost 100 pounds of feed in there this time of year while we're hunting. Both packs come in together. They eat together. And our little side door, when I open the side door and call for all the dogs split off and they go back to their run. They get locked in, and I just go back to get the bitches out of there. This time of year, you get 1 or 2 that don't understand yet. I just put 2 like 7-month-old puppies in there that they haven't decided that they know what sex they are yet. So you have to grab them every now and then and pull them through the door. But
Gotcha.
a couple weeks, they figure it out pretty quickly.
See, that's so interesting because
we hunt a mixed pack too.
Mhm.
I don't just hunt the bitches one day and the dogs another day.
Okay.
Every day I draw off hounds. It's a mix.
Okay.
Which I know for a long time here it was a straight bitch pack, and personally I'm glad I have a mixed pack.
Mhm.
I think you have a better sound and a better hunt with a mixed pack.
Okay. Now, do you hunt the same way?
Pretty much, yeah. We only hunt, like I say, probably 12, 13 couple, but a mixed pack. Our kennel was set up a little different because it is smaller. They're inside the inside kennel, and then we turn them in and out. They don't have a run of the run. We had to put them out, put them in. We have a girl that is there every day. That's her job, to feed them and take care of them and get them out. If it's too hot, she brings them in. If it's too cold or rainy, brings them back.
Okay.
But yeah, it's pretty much the same that way.
My mind boggled because I know if I turned my 4 dogs loose together and tried to feed the 4 of them together, it would not go smoothly. So the thought of feeding 80 dogs together all at one time and having control, not having fights, and then being able to
You get little scuffles here and there, but it's never anything.
Pull that back to your face.
It's nothing.
Turn it up. There you go.
It's nothing bad. And you got to remember too, like Rich said it 2 or 3 times now. It is a pack sport, so they're together all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you're putting like I just said, I put a 7-month-old puppy in there. First 2 days, he might not be in there diving into the food bowl because he's a little overwhelmed. But
yeah,
by day 2, he's going, okay, I'm hungry. I'll figure this out, and he finds his place, and everything's good.
Yeah. Like I said, it's just very different, and that's why I find it super interesting. And that you can sit there and you said almost every dog in here would come to its name.
Every hound in here, yeah. Every hound in both his pack and my pack, they all have names, and they all pretty much know their name, and you can call them, and they will come. And if they don't come, they will at least respond. They will at least look at you.
Look at you and say, I might want to go over here instead. But no, they know their names.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing we do as far as kenneling, at our house, my wife, Leslie, takes care of the retired hounds.
Mm-hmm.
After they've served their time, 9, 10, 11 years old, usually by 9, they're pretty much done hunting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the other thing we do. Humanely, we keep them at home and give them a good home. They've worked hard for us, and we keep them until their time is done.
Yeah.
You do most of your puppies at home, too.
Yeah, we raise most of the puppies. This last litter was whelped at the kennel, which is 20 miles from our house.
Mm-hmm.
And then after, I don't know, 2-3 weeks, we brought them home and kept them there until they're weaned.
Mm-hmm.
And soon we'll take them back.
Okay.
And introduce them into the kennel with the rest of the hounds.
Very interesting.
And then maybe like about a year, we'll start walking them out with the other hounds.
Okay.
But it's a passion, a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a lifestyle.
Well, and for Rich, it's not a full-time job.
No, it is not.
You hunt. You said 2 days a week.
Right.
But for you, Mackenzie, this is your job. You live
Yeah.
here. This is what you
Yep.
do.
I live here. I'm in the kennels every day.
Mhm.
Hunt days this time of year, I'm in the kennel by 4:30. Non-hunt days, I'm still in the kennel by 6. And I don't know. For me, it amazes me, like, days that we just walk out on foot and days that we're going to go hunt, there's a totally different feel in the kennel in the morning.
Okay.
The hounds have a different feel. Like,
Mhm.
they
sense it.
somehow they know. I can walk out on a horse with these hounds onto our kennel lawn on a day that we're just going to go exercise, and they're just lollygagging around. They don't care. And I can get on that same horse at the exact same time the next day, and somehow they know that we're going to the cover and we're going to go hunt.
Hmm.
It's kind of freaky the way they associate it.
Do you dress differently?
Nope. Not at all. Not this time of year.
Yeah.
No, we get the formal season. Well, not even formal season. When we get to our full actual cubbing season,
yeah.
we're tweed coats and stuff. And then when we get to formal season, red coats.
So why don't we explain what cubbing season, formal season, what all this is?
Go ahead, Rich.
Okay. Well, cubbing, we usually start real soon, like probably September.
Okay.
And it's when the young foxes, that's when we introduce some of the young hounds, the first year hounds.
Mhm.
And the way I see it and the way it's worked for me, a lot of times we'll get a young fox, and the young fox is not going to run cross country. So it's a lot of times we run them in standing corn.
Mhm.
So the fox is comfortable in that corn. He's got a lot of cover. The hounds can smell him in there and can run him, and they're not actually going cross country.
Mhm.
And the young hounds get a chance to smell it, and the young foxes, probably their den is in there. They're going to run a couple circles in the corn and then go in.
Yeah.
And so that's just when we start trying to introduce the young hounds to the real world of fox hunting.
Now, during cubbing season, do you have the hunt along with you, or is it just you guys as staff?
Yeah, normally we do, and have the hunt with us, and it's usually earlier in the morning, or sometimes we go in the evenings when it cools off.
Mhm.
And it's not a formal thing. We, like I said, we're a farmer pack or a private pack, but we still try to follow the tradition to wear in the cubbing season. You wear tweed and boots and breeches, and then once the formal season comes, in November, you start to wear the black coats or the scarlet when you're special occasions.
Okay.
But we're not as strict as, say, the recognized with the attire. We like to think it's all about fun.
Mhm.
We want people to get out there and see what the hounds are doing. It doesn't matter what you're wearing really, but you want to go out there and hear the hounds and see what they're doing. And a lot of times the cubbing season, people get to see that because we're not full blast, full cry across the open country, or even through the woods. They, like I say, usually stay in a small area. Hopefully we get a young fox.
Okay. Now explain, like, Mackenzie, you said you guys tend to be more formal. What does your attire look like?
This time of year, it's kind of the same as Rich. We're in riding pants and boots and stuff, but just a nice clean polo shirt, dress up shirt. Nothing major. As soon as we hit our official cubbing season, we go tweed coats, normally rust colored breeches, and still black boots.
Okay.
For us, they especially being staff and a huntsman here, they expect us to be turned out looking clean. Clean shave, haircut, not hair going everywhere.
Yeah.
Pants clean, boots clean, polished.
Gotcha.
You gotta have some kind of a presence. And then once we hit our main hunt season, I don't like it, but I'm stuck in a bright red coat the whole season.
You look good in a bright red coat.
So some packs, they want you in white breeches when you're hunting. Luckily, we don't have that here.
Okay.
I do not like white breeches because you turn one way the wrong way and they're covered and disgusting looking in the first 5 minutes. But,
oh yeah.
And I mean, for us, it's
pure
everything.
white.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, our attack has to be clean. Our horses come clean. Any kind of special hunts, our Thanksgiving, our opening meet, all that kind of stuff. Our horses are braided. It's a big thing.
Yeah.
And like Thanksgiving for us is our biggest hunt here. Last year we had 300 and some spectator cars sitting on the kennel lawn that weren't even part of the hunt. They were just here to watch.
Yep. That was like I said, I worked down the road this is probably 10 years ago. That is my exposure to this hunt. Is I came to the Blessing of the Hounds on Thanksgiving morning, and saw all of its glory and all the hoopla.
Yeah,
because it is quite a spectacle. And I understand it's a big thing, but just like
even for you,
well, we do the same thing on Thanksgiving on a smaller scale, but we've had maybe 40, 50 riders.
Okay.
Maybe 100 spectators, and
it's amazing how many people, the community that just shows up.
Yeah.
Just for Thanksgiving, like we never see these people all year, and it's just like a tradition for them, just as much as it is for us that they show up on Thanksgiving Day to see the hunt off.
Yeah.
If they stay all day, they stay all day. Some of them just show up for the beginning stuff and then they leave. But it's kind of impressive how many people turn out just to see a pack of hounds go hunt a fox.
Yep. I thought it was pretty cool. Like I said, it's very ceremonial. It's very. I mean,
we don't.
I don't know what the right way to describe it is, but it's not. Like, that is not the hunt. That is, like I said, a ceremony.
It is.
Right.
It is. Because you guys have a preacher and stuff that does a blessing and stuff before you guys hunt.
Yeah, on Thanksgiving morning, we do a blessing at the hound, usually at Hibernia Church, and then we go off we have a special activities permit to hunt in Hibernia Park.
Okay.
And this year, October 1st, we're doing Chester County Day. They have a house tour to raise money for Chester County Hospital. And they always open it up with a fox hunt in 4 different quadrants of Chester County. And this year they asked us to perform that, and it's never been done at Hibernia Park. This is the first year.
Cool.
And we're supposed to perform there on October 1st, and hopefully it'll all go good. We got to bring the hounds out and talk a little bit to the spectators, and hopefully they stay with us till we get ready to mount up and actually hunt. So.
And for the longest time, I won't say her name, but Rich had probably the nicest preacher to do his service. I watched that poor lady the one year sitting there doing her sermon and the blessing as a hound had its leg cocked
on her shoe.
And she never even said a word, just kept going like it never even happened.
Yeah, we had.
We've
had some really good times over the years.
I've had a lot of fun times with Rich. We've had a lot of fun hunts together.
So now that we've talked kind of about like what this is and you know the formality of it, and why don't you guys give us some good stories and kind of what a hunt looks like? Like you get up in the morning, walk us through a hunt, and then we can kind of recap some really memorable hunts.
You're gonna get two majorly different starts to a day here.
Yeah.
For me, like you said, I live on the property. I live above the kennel, so I walk down my steps, and it starts any other morning. You know, I turn my hounds out, and you know when I'm turning hounds out, I'm looking to make sure somebody doesn't have a swollen leg or anything from the day before hunting. And while they're out, I'm doing kennels, spraying down, cleaning up everything they've left me the night before. And then I'm drawing off my hound list of who's going that day. I'm getting my collars set up that just started this year. I gotta have them ready to go to put on. And then I'm coming in. If it's a home meet that we're hunting from the kennel, I'm pretty much done. I'm just gonna bring hounds back in, draw off the hounds that are hunting, collar them up, and then I'll go in and change and get dressed. If it's an away meet, I'll be in a little bit more of a rush to get dressed. The one thing you learn very quickly in this kennel is when they come in from the runs, you do not want to be standing in there in your riding pants and your clean boots, because you are going to be a muddy mess before you get hounds drawn off.
Gotcha.
So a lot of times I will get them drawn off, collared up, and then I will go change. Now when we get later in the year, it changed a little bit. Well, we're not meeting till 11 in January and stuff if we're still hunting, if we haven't gotten shut down from weather or freezing. I normally can have kennels done, and I will, depending on the temperature, hounds will either just stay out where I will bring hounds back in, and then I will have like an hour where I can just kind of relax. I can come up, change around, get everything ready, hook trailers up, stuff like that. And if we're going to an away meet, I'm loading hounds into a trailer, which I open the kennel door and open the trailer doors, and they run over and jump in the trailer because they're ready to go. I know that's different for you in a hunting morning. You got a lot more. All my stuff's right here. I'm down in the kennels in 10 steps, and I'm already at work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we keep our horses at home. Our kennel is 20 miles away. So depending on where we're hunting, like I said, we hunt a lot at Hibernia Park. My wife and I get up, get our horses ready, get cleaned up. Then I'll usually run over to the kennel. Get hounds ready, put collars on, load them up in a truck, come back, finish getting the horses ready, load them up in the trailer. My wife will drive the hound truck. I drive the truck and trailer with the horses, go another 10, 12 miles to the meet, then hunt all day, ride, could be 5, 6 hours.
Okay.
Then hopefully all the hounds come back. We load them up. Then we repeat the process. We come back to the house, undo the horses, clean up, clean stalls.
Yeah.
Then take the hounds another 20 miles back to the kennel, and then come back. So it's
a long day.
It's a labor of love, and and I'm not complaining at all. We love it, but
dedication.
On a Hibernia day, I never realized it till one day I clocked that we did like 120 miles in the truck.
Yeah.
Besides the hunting, all the hunting. And so
now, let's explain what the fox hunt actually looks like. Obviously, you cut a fox track, you're going to follow the fox, but like, what does that, like, once you're out in the field with the hounds on your horses, what does that day look like?
It varies.
I realize that, but like,
it varies.
Typical.
It depends where we're going and stuff. Typically, anywhere I'm hunting, my first cover is within a couple 100 yards that I'm drawing into, and we go out with a good plan of where we want to go and how we want to hunt.
Where we think the fox is going to run.
Yep. And when you start your day, you have you're parking your trailer at point A. So your goal is to kind of make a giant loop somehow and end up back at point A, but 90% of the time that never happens. You start at point A and you go to point Z and back to B and over to F, and it never goes how you think it's going to go.
Okay.
Yeah, thank God for the technology, the radios, the Garmin's, where we can kind of keep track of them and keep them safe on the roads. And
I don't think people who don't do the mounted fox hunting don't understand how in control and out of control you are at the same time. You can be in complete control of everything going on, and they make one 90-degree turn running a fox and go up a hill, and they're a half a mile away from you in the blink of an eye, and you're playing catch up.
Gotcha.
And I know for you guys it's even worse because they go over one hill, and by the time you get to the top of that, they're on the next valley going up over the next hill that you have 20 minutes to catch up to them now.
Yeah.
Down here, at least I have some open fields, but I can say out of the packs I've hunted with, last year I had one day out in a hayfield where I had a horse flat out. It could not move any faster, and these hounds were still pulling away from me. There was not, I just wasn't catching them. There was no way it was happening. And now you take a pack that can run like that and you throw them into country like he has, and you're trying to get through a briar patch and trees and rocks on a goat trail before they get to a major road.
Yeah. And again, that's where the Penn Meridales come in. They can climb and do that, and and just keep at it.
That's awesome. And we were talking downstairs. You hunt different style of dogs for different style of country, and
without a doubt.
Right.
I'm really like I said, I hunted with Rich for 9-10 years, and I never back then would have thought I would end up hunting a pack of crossbreds or American hounds. And now seeing the country down here and how they run, I wouldn't change it. Yeah. But if you asked me to take this pack and put them in Rich's country, we'd be in all kinds of trouble. And if you bring Rich's pack down here, they'd be in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, our hounds, even though we have a lot of Penn Meridale influence into our crossbreds, Our hounds are a little taller, a little bulkier, and
A lot
they can cover.
leggier.
Yeah, they can cover ground. When
Yeah.
they start moving, they're gonna go.
Yeah.
The other thing too with ours is they lock onto a fox, and our checks are very, very, especially later in the season, our checks are very short when they lose a scent or they overrun a corner or something where a fox turned out, because they have that American in them. They're a little bit more keen. They'll hunt themselves.
Okay.
They figure out that fox made a turn there, and you'll see them. They'll cast themselves out 15 feet, 20 feet, and they'll hit the line on their own before you can even help them.
Okay.
And they're going again.
The Penn-Marydales.
They run just as hard.
Yeah, they'll do it. They're pretty much, you get a few of them, but you got to help them along a little bit sometimes.
Gotcha.
But I don't know, and I think mine. I'm pretty happy with mine the way they pick up at a check. And we had a few that wouldn't, and we get rid of them or move them on to somewhere else.
Yeah.
But
I think it'd be fair to say, in my opinion, I think the Penn-Marydales hunt for you a little bit more.
Okay.
Whereas the crossbreds and the Americans hunt for you and themselves.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of experience with the crossbreds. I've always been with Penn-Marydales.
Gotcha.
So,
No, I was talking to a guy, and he's got some Penn-Marydales. He actually lives further up north and coyote hunts and fox hunts off foot. And he's got some Penn-Marydales, and he's like, because we're on foot, he's like, those slower dogs kind of are a little advantageous for them.
Right.
I hear it all the time. Everybody's back and forth with the Penn-Marydales are slow. The Penn-Marydales are slow. Like I said in the beginning of this, I've got 3 or 4 straight Penn-Marydales downstairs, and 2 of those Penn-Marydales on most of the days. If you look at the first 4 hounds crossing the line coming out of a cover, it's one of those straight Penn-Marydales.
Okay.
But you got to go back to your difference of country too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You send that hound back up to Rich, it's going to run with his pack. You send it down
Yeah,
here.
we've had days where oh my God, I can't believe they're out of here already.
Yeah.
There's certain times where conditions are right, the scent is right, the weather.
They could all move the same
Right.
speed. It's just a matter of where they're hunting and the condition.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about a few memorable hunts. You guys have shared a lot of them. I've heard some crazy stories. When we were coon hunting the one night, we were coming back, and you were like, "Yeah, did I tell you about I got stuck up in there?" Or
oh yeah, well
crazy stuff.
The game lands. The game lands is horrible for me. I got his horse stuck. I have 22 bird shot in my right thigh from the game lands.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
Come out on the power line.
We went up over a hill. I was actually riding his horse, and I heard a gunshot, and he heard a gunshot. And when we got to the top, we were both like, "Were you shooting at somebody?" And by the time we got back to the trailer, I realized that my pistol had went off in its holster.
Lovely.
And I ended up with some 22 bird shot in my leg. That was quite comical, actually.
I think you need a new holster.
Well, another time in that game land when we were sitting there watching the foxes going round and round, nice loops, and all of a sudden you said to me, "I don't think they're coming back around."
They with the coyote.
They didn't. And so we split up thinking we're going to go. And, of course, the radios, the GPSs didn't work. Phones didn't work over there in the hills. And Mackenzie and I guess it was Chelsea that day ended up
in the other side of the park.
Yeah, they went through Hopewell National Park, which is a very no-no. We had...
And that was a good probably 6 miles out across
7
there.
miles straight across. After they had made like 5 or 6 loops on this red fox, that's where I say that then the coyote just kind of intervened and took them away. We had 8 rangers from Valley Forge Park run us down. Luckily, his brother got there with a truck, and we got the hounds loaded up.
I ended up with most of the hounds on the other side of the park, and I thought we were safe. And I jumped off my horse, and there was somebody standing there, and I was kind of in that mode of just getting our hounds and getting out of there. I didn't know where Rich was at that point, because I went out of there as quick as I could.
Yeah, well, I ended up getting in the truck.
Yeah, I knew the last I had heard, he said he was going to head for a truck. But I handed somebody my horse. My brother pulled up in one of our other trucks, and I'm cramming hounds in the back seat. I'm cramming them into the tonneau cover. Like, I'm putting hounds anywhere I can just to get out of there. And he left with the hounds, and I turned around to get my horse, and there was a park ranger standing there holding my horse. And I'm like, yep, we're in trouble now.
But it all turned out pretty well. We had a meeting with the park rangers, and I explained everything that we did and told them that we had been hunting there 25 years. And they went back over the records and said, well, we've never had one complaint about you here in 25 years, so you must be doing something right. So
the other big thing you said about the Garmins, we had a map on the Garmin on the handheld of where we started at, and they could see on the map that we had made
were way away from.
Yeah, we had made a bunch of circles way far away, and then there was just one straight line.
That was a coyote.
That was definitely an interesting day.
Right. These hounds will take you all kinds of places.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you guys are talking about hunting game lands. I've hunted up there, coon hunted up there, so I mean, I know how rough that is.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being up in some of that country on a horse.
It's
you got to have a good horse under you. You know, you can't go out there on something three-legged, no shoe, one eye. You got to trust what you're sitting on.
I'll tell you something spooky.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, and then you come down here and you need something that can move and you need something that can jump.
Yeah.
It's a totally different type of horse.
Mm-hmm.
You need a horse that can gallop 4, 5, 6 miles and not be getting tired. You go up there, you got to be able to climb a mountain.
Yeah. Like you said, the hounds got to be different. The horses got to be different.
Everything. It's a totally different aspect.
And what's the, to hunt here to there? 45 minutes?
Maybe.
Half hour, 45 minutes.
When they hunt Hibernia, he's only probably 20 minutes from me.
Yeah. So it's not even that
one
far.
city between us, one little village between us.
Yeah.
It's just a totally different setup.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, you hear people talk about, the farmer packs. There's places that I've hunted with him where I think it is more challenging to get through some of that area on a horse and stay with hounds than it is down here.
Mm-hmm.
Down here, as long as you have a horse that can jump,
as long as you can jump and gallop, you can get
where you need to get to.
Yeah.
Up there, you got to ride smart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you go into a creek bottom and you don't know if you're going to hit bottom.
Yeah.
You go up the side of a mountain and you don't know if you're going to get to the top and have somewhere to go, or if you're going to be in laurel that's taller than you, or you're going to go straight down off the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it can be totally different. The biggest challenge down here is staying with your hounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got a lot bigger roads down that people fly on.
Yeah.
And we don't get away from those roads. Everywhere we hunt, other than one or two meets, are what I would consider 100% safe meet, which we have barriers. We have a river on one side. We have a land trust on the other side. They got to go pretty far to be getting into trouble.
Yeah.
Now, you have some major roads up there, but most of the time you're in pretty safe territory.
Safe, yeah. And then when we hunt there at the farm, we're a land peninsula. I mean, the Schuylkill River's around, and there's only one way out there.
Yeah.
So we have, but it's not the biggest fixture. Maybe 300-400 acres there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good place to train young hounds.
Okay.
There's lots of deer in there, so we have a way to break the hounds off a deer,
mm-hmm.
and it just works pretty good. But it's changing over there now too. They're starting to develop some of the outlying country off the farm, so I'm not sure how long we're going to be able to do that either.
It's funny though. I've since I started hunting, everybody's always it's changing. 10 more years.
Mm-hmm.
I started I was 12, 13, something like that.
Yeah, well, I remember you coming down to Buddy's. You come down to Buddy Swishers with Kathy.
Yep.
When you were
Kathy and Karen,
14 or 15,
and I never left.
Yeah. It's been a long road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we keep saying, I know even Buddy 20 years ago would say, I don't know if we're going to be able to do this next year. He said, it's coming to an end. Coming to an end.
It's still here. It's getting tighter and tighter and harder and harder, but we just keep adapting somehow.
Yeah.
Kearney Hiller just told me at the picnic. He says, I thought when I got rid of my hounds, what was that, 40 years ago? He said, I thought it was done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, well, here you're still gone.
And there's still a lot of hunts around that people don't even know exist. They don't even know that we're here.
Yeah. Like I said, I live 20 minutes south of here, and until I was in my early 20s, really didn't know any of this existed.
And from where you are, within an hour, you have Rich's, you have My Hunt, you've got Andrews Bridge, you've got Cochrane, you got River Hills, you've got Kimmerton, you got West Bradford, you have Radnor. You have Rose Tree, which isn't Rose Tree anymore. It's Shoncully.
Shoncully, yeah. Blue Ridge / Rose Tree, I think. Yeah.
Am I missing anybody in there?
Well, technically,
Johnny Dean.
Yep. Technically, we're the Bellwood Hunt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so.
Well, then you get into Maryland. Like I live right on the PA-Maryland line. Then you get into Maryland, and there's a bunch.
Yeah, there's some. Green Springs is in Maryland. There was a hunt at Fair Hill, Elkridge, Hartford. Yep. Fair Hill, they've been closed. But there's a lot of hunts that people don't realize are even here.
Yeah.
It is kind of amazing that you can put 40 hounds in the woods and go hunt for a day, and people don't know you exist.
Exactly. Right. Well, that's like I didn't know there was any coon hunters around until I joined the Coon Hunters Club. And then it's all of a sudden, and there's not a bunch of us, but
there's enough.
There's a good handful of us still hanging around. It's like I would have never known that until somebody told me, like, oh, you should go up there.
Yeah.
So it's like once you get into it and you actually know the people, and then it's like, oh, there's a lot more going on around.
Yeah.
So even though we're basically between Baltimore and Philly, and the suburbs keep creeping out on us, we keep running hounds over here.
Yeah, you look at Radnor right around the corner in Malvern from us, and I mean they're right up against Route 3.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They hunt some tight. They still hunt 3 days a week, but they hunt some tight country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I couldn't imagine. You couldn't pay me to turn my 3 dogs loose.
You get up to some of his country, you get across the edge of 401 out of that one fixture, and your next stop's the Turnpike.
Yeah.
You're right up against it, and I think we can all speak from experience. They don't check the wire on the Turnpike as often as they should.
No, we had a few years ago. We had 2 hounds, 1 hound killed, 1 hound hit, and another hound. Somebody on the Turnpike picked up. We got it.
Gotcha.
And that was from
Scary.
over there at Nant Mill Road.
Yeah, that's
out through Glenmore, and
it happens quick too.
Yeah.
Before you know it, you're getting somewhere where you shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little nerve-wracking. I usually spend the nights before a hunt laying in bed thinking where I'm going to draw, what I'm going to do, what's going to happen.
And I'm right there with him now.
Yeah.
With stepping up and taking a huntsman's position.
Mm-hmm.
My first couple weeks here, the first couple nights we were going to hunt, it was nerve-wracking till I got off my horse when we got back from the meet. I don't think I took more than 3 or 4 breaths, just waiting for something to go wrong.
Yeah. There's a lot of responsibility.
Yep, I'm responsible for everything now.
Yeah.
I not only am I watching my hounds where we're going, I'm responsible for everybody that's following me, making sure they're having fun. They're the members. They're paying the bills. They're helping feed the hounds. They're helping keeping this thing going.
Yeah. Now, how many people typically follow along with a hunt?
It varies. Since we hunt 3 days a week, Saturdays are obviously our biggest day. We see more people on those days. This time of year, hound exercising, beginning of cubbing, I think today was probably the most people I had out, and I think there's might have been 20 people, 30 people.
Okay.
Now you go to like Thanksgiving,
mm-hmm.
you could have 100, 150 people. You just never know.
And that's all people on horseback.
That's people on horses, yes.
On horseback.
It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
And for us too, our joint meets. So our joint meets are a little bit different. We don't mix packs of hounds.
Okay.
But it Green Springs from Maryland will come up, Elkridge will come up, or we'll go to them, and it's amazing how many of their members come with.
Okay.
Yeah, their trailer, an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, up here, and they'll still have 10, 15, 20 people trailer all the way up here to hunt in our country for the day.
Wow.
And when we go down there, it's the same way. We have a bunch of people that ride down with us.
Okay. Very interesting.
Yeah, now we typically have a joint meet. We mix hounds.
Mm-hmm.
and like with Johnny Dean or Doc Addis, he's passed away now. And to me, that was always the fun of a joint meet, to watch the two different packs of hounds.
Yeah.
Just like Mackenzie was saying at the Game Lands that one year, we had 3 or 4 packs, and just all put them together.
We did that. Didn't we do that another year over off of
We
Nant
did it
Mill?
once at Pippin's.
I don't remember it at Pippin's.
We
I
had,
remember over off at Nant Mill.
Could be. But one year, New Year's Day, I think, we had Doc, Kimberton, us, and I think that was before Johnny. I think Johnny might have still been at Radnor then. Because Doc, I remember Doc falling off his horse in the mud there, and just before we got back on the pipeline.
Doc.
But, yeah.
Doc Addis.
Doc Addis, he's passed away now. He's a great fox hunter.
Yeah.
Good friend. But he was a character.
I've heard lots of stories about Doc.
Doc Addis's theory on a good day is when the police and the game warden showed up. That means he had a good run.
I've heard some stories.
But he could breed hounds.
Yeah,
and he could hunt hounds.
He could hunt them. He knew he thought like a fox.
Okay.
He just knew where that fox should go or would go. And if those hounds had trouble, he
was what, 78 the last year he was on a horse?
Well, I think up until 80.
Wow.
And to that,
still rode.
You could be sitting aside Doc, and hounds would be going somewhere, and you could go as fast as you could the way that you thought was the best, and somehow he would always beat you there, even at 80 years old.
That's impressive.
You'd come out around the corner, and Doc would be sitting there.
He'd be sitting there with the hounds.
Yep, and you have no idea how he beat you there. There's no way he should have got there.
But he had been hunting that country for like 60 years, so he knew every rock and crevice, and
yeah,
he was amazing.
It's pretty impressive that you're out there.
I'm not tonight.
I think that's an old joke.
No, you're giving Doc all this credit, saying he was 80 years old and out there and still doing it. You said you're 72.
Well, I'll be 72. Yeah.
You'll be 72, and you're still riding a daggum horse, following a pack of hounds. That's pretty impressive.
I'm trying.
This seems like a young person sport, especially to be a huntsman and to stay with the pack. And to me, at least, I would think it is.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
No, yes and no. And once again, it goes back to your pack of hounds and your territory.
Okay.
A little bit of experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been plenty of times, when I first started hunting with Rich, where I probably put an extra 10 miles on my horse, where I could have followed Rich and went 2 miles. But it's just like he said, it's experience.
Yeah.
He's hunted that country for how long? I thought I knew where I was going. I thought I knew how I could get around where I wanted to be. But obviously there was a deer trail that I missed and would have cut the whole corner off.
Yeah, we didn't have like groomed paths.
No.
So
you shred 3 or 4 pair of pants a year starting out.
Well, I just want to say one thing too, that when we brought up Doc Addis, he was always like a mentor to me. I mean, people either loved him or hated him. He was just one of them kind of people. But when it comes to hunting, fox hunting, he was the man. Well, one year, and I think you were there, we hunted what we called the Big Hill in the winter. We got a fox on that big hill behind Cochran's, and I think we ran that fox for 5 hours straight, nonstop. There was a bunch of people down on Nant Mill Road watching. Somebody got on the radio and said the fox just crossed Nant Mill Road, and it was probably 4:30, maybe December, I don't know. It was winter, and it's going to get dark soon. So, and Doc, first time ever, they said he went back early, back to the trailer. He was cold, and he told me.
Hang on 1 second. All right.
So, anyway, he told me he's going in, stay with the hounds. This was probably an hour before. I'm a little ahead of myself. Anyway, what I'm getting at, I just always respected Doc as a huntsman, and at that time we hunted together quite a bit. And I probably had 30 hounds. He had 30, so there was like 60 hounds. And he went in. He went back to the car. It was cold, and I think it was 80 or 81 at that time. And people said, Where's Doc? I never heard of him going back to the car when he's
Yeah.
cold. He just never ever quit. Well, we ran another hour, and I told my wife we're coming back across the field. When we knocked him off, when that fox crossed Ant Mill Road, I had the guys on the car. I said, "Stop him, knock him off. We can't go. It's going to get dark here soon.
Mm-hmm.
These hounds are tired." We come back across this big open field there at Billy Cochran's, and it was like, huh. It was amazing. It was like, I'm in heaven coming back. All these 60 hounds were following us back. They were all dragging. They ran 5 hours up and down this hill, up and down this. And I just thought, here's Doc's hounds, who I've always appreciated, and my hounds all together.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't had a hunt like that since.
Yeah.
No, I do remember that day.
It was 5 hours.
I remember sitting on top of the amphitheater with you and Larry, just watching them run underneath us. And I also remember us sitting there that day going, if we see them hitting Ant Mill Road, how screwed we are, because we are not getting to them.
Right. Well, they went over to a farm that we weren't supposed to be on either, over there at Gross's. And I thought, well, at this time of day, we better not let them go there either. But I just felt so honored that, well, and I was right 60, 65. I mean, it wasn't that many years ago. And I felt like a little kid just being honored that I had all these hounds with me.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm boggled that you guys can control that many hounds and run that many hounds. And
we come back across that field that day, probably, I don't know, 3/4 of a mile across the hayfield back towards the trailers. Every hound was there, loaded up, and but they were tired.
It's impressive.
I've gotten beyond lucky coming into the hunt. I worked for my English teacher who rides horses, and I got to know Sandy Dunn down at Kimberton. That's where I started at. I was riding horse for Sandy and ended up learning how to whip hounds down there. And then I met Rich and ended up moving over and hunting with Rich and Leslie for, it's got to be 9 or 10 years at least.
Probably 10 years, I'm sure.
And then I'm a blacksmith part-time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was shoeing horses for Carl Smoker, who did the hunt horses here at Cheshire, and also did the retired huntsman that was before me, who I hunted with for the last 2 seasons now. He was doing his wife's barn.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to know Ivan when the position came available here. I went from hunting with Rich and Leslie, who are like family.
Yeah.
I turn around and end up with Ivan, who just another great guy to hunt with.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm sitting.
Yeah, you're the man.
Yeah, I'm sitting in the huntsman spot at Cheshire.
That's awesome.
It's different.
Yeah.
It's definitely different. It's been a long, if you'd asked me 3 years ago if I'd have thought I'd have ended up here,
mm-hmm.
never would have thought it.
It's a great opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. A good young man.
Yeah, you come down here, I mean, to my first 2 years here, stories. There's, like I said, Ivan was great, but I was talking to Ivan the other day, and there was 2 times in the 2 years here where I really thought Ivan was trying to kill me. Ivan's a very good houndsman, very good horseman. There's people that'll probably tell you he's one of the best huntsmen around. But we were over behind Runnymede, and it was an early season hunt. It was sometime in September, and I just remember being on one of our younger horses, and it had just started raining. Hounds were running. We were trying to find a way out into another field, and there was a tree blocking the only fence. And I remember galloping along this field, not knowing where I was going, following Ivan down through, and he locked on to a hedge that I couldn't see over it. I didn't know what was in it. And we were going full tilt at this hedge, and I just remember taking my feet out of the stirrups going, well, I made it a year with Cheshire, and this is where I end up in a body bag, because I'm not going to the other side of this hedge. I'm going to wreck right here. And we got lucky. The hounds actually turned. We ended up not jumping it, but I was pretty sure, and I was convinced that was going to be the end right there. But I had some fun times with Ivan, and I had fun times with Rich. It's, like I said, it's 2 different worlds, though.
Yeah.
It's a totally different.
Two extremes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
without a doubt.
Well, what did we miss? Anything?
I don't think we missed too much.
Yeah.
I really appreciate this. Like, I've got a whole education here, and I'm sure all the listeners are, because this is vastly different than anything I've ever done. So, and it's just, like I said, I'm just in awe of the fact that you guys can control as many hounds as you do. And, you know, the way I control my hounds is a tone button. You guys don't have that.
You do have to remember, you know, we both carry horns. The hounds do respond to a horn, and our whips also carry a whip. And the cracking of a whip means a lot to a hound.
Yeah.
It's not necessary that you're whipping a hound with it. It's all the tone and the noise and when and where you do it. Yeah, you do that behind a pack of hounds, and all you're going to do is push them forward, and they're going to be like, yeah, you say whatever you want. You do that in front of a pack of hounds, and they're going to be like, whoa, hold on here a second. We should probably stop what we're doing.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's not like it's a miracle that we can just walk out there and take the whole pack. But
It takes a village, though, to make it work.
It does. It does. Yeah, and Rich touched on it there about Doc too. It takes you got to be smart.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be way. You know, it's kind of like playing chess. You got to be 12 steps ahead.
Right.
And of all of those 12 steps, you need to have 12 more steps for each one of them. You can't think about what's 3 feet in front of you. You got to be 6 miles in front of you.
Gotcha.
And it's never ending. It's like that all day from the time the hounds hit the ground to the time they're back in the truck.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, though, it's just fun.
Right.
It's either it's in you or it's not. You
Right.
want to do it.
That's
or
for
you don't.
sure, because it's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
It's,
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's a life. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah, our off seasons, like April to July, is pretty much our off season. But it's not an off season when you have a pack of hounds.
Oh no.
They still are getting walked out. Yep. Yeah, that for us that time of year we're breaking puppies, fresh puppies. They're learning to walk out with the pack. Couples, you know, you're still feeding every day. You're still walking out every day.
Yeah.
You're starting to clear trails for the next season. You're getting horses leg back up.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's never ending.
Yeah.
And for Rich, I mean, this is my full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
He's working a full-time job on top of doing this.
Yeah.
His wife, she runs her own business too. He runs his business, she runs her business, and they're still taking care of a whole pack of hounds and all their other, you look at where I'm at. I've got my masters above me that, you know, they're doing a lot of the phone calls and contacting landowners and when we're coming here, when we're going there. They're, you know, they take care of all the paperwork and all that stuff. Now, obviously I have paperwork in the kennel and stuff, but these two are doing most of that on their own.
Yeah.
You know, they've got help in the kennel and stuff, but they're working 2 full-time jobs while taking care of everything that I'm doing on a daily basis on my own.
Yeah.
It's definitely a lifestyle and a choice.
Yeah.
And it's not for everybody, but if you like hearing hounds go and you like hearing hounds run,
Yeah.
you're not going to hear anything better than a pack of foxhounds.
That's right.
Now we just got to get him to come to a couple hunts.
Yeah, get him on a horse.
No. Not at all.
I got a nice horse for you.
I mean, I can walk around on a horse, but there's no way I'm keeping up on a. So
Grab a hold and hold on.
I've never went faster than maybe a trot. So, some trail rides. That's my.
Well, you definitely have to come out in the truck or something.
Yeah,
sometime.
Definitely. Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate you sitting down with me tonight and recording this. And like I said, I've had a lot of fun and learned a lot. And I think everybody listening, if they've stuck around this long on this trash race, because like I said, this is typically a tree dog podcast. We're talking, dogs tree and stuff. So
well, we have some hounds that'll tree stuff. They might not supposed to, but they will.
Well, that's where the first coonhounds came from, and so. But thank you guys.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you.
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Tree Talking Media. And until next time, keep them talking in the timber.